Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how you can create this white outline stroke effect in Photoshop 2020 and then apply it to your YouTube thumbnails and editorial designs. And I'm going to start right now. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and if it is the very first time to this channel and you want to learn all about Photoshop, Lightroom and everything photography related, start now by subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss anything. Now in this tutorial guys, I'm going to show you how to create this white outline stroke effect in Photoshop 2020. And then we can apply it to our YouTube thumbnails and editorial designs as magazines and things like that. Now this effect works really well when we're applying it to portraiture photos, so for instance of people or of places like landscapes. And I'm going to show you what type of photos work and what photos don't work as well. So if you want to have a look at any of the pre-selected photos that I've found that works really well with this effect, make sure you go to the link in the description and you can download them all from there for free. But without further ado guys, let's get started. Okay guys, so the first thing you want to do is choose an image. Now if you want to use the same image that I'll be using in this tutorial so you can follow along with the same photo, then go ahead to the link in the description and you can download it from there. But once we have done that, what you want to do is head over to Photoshop. This is the image that I'm going to be working on with today. And what we want to do firstly is to work out what section we want to create a white outline cutout. So the way we can do this is by selecting an area and then duplicating the layer. So we can use a variety of different tools. So today I'm going to be using the pen tool, but for instance the quick selection tool or the lasso tool works great for this. And what you want to do is start off at one area. So I'm going to start off just down here, and you want to start creating a cutout with your chosen tool. Now if you want to follow along with the same tool that I'm using in this tutorial and the tool that I think works best for this particular effect, what I'll do is go over and select P on the keyboard and you go and select the pen tool, or you can find it on the left hand side tool panel. And what you want to do is click and drag and just choose an area that you want to be or create the selection. So what you want to do is spend a lot of time on this particular stage of the effect, as this is the area that is most noticeable that when you're creating the effect. So the smoother the cutout, the better looking the effect will become. And the best way to create a nice smooth cutout is to spend a good amount of time creating the effect or creating the selection, just so you know that you are happy with the effect. And you can zoom in quite close to go around all the areas that you desire. Obviously the more high resolution the image, the better the cutout will be, because you've got easier lines to follow. And also a quick tip, if you are choosing an image, you want to find an image that isn't too busy. So for instance, if there's a lot of hair in the image, or if it goes in and out of focus, these images don't work too well. But for instance, this image here with a portrait works really well with this effect. So if you are looking to apply this effect to an image, that's something that you want to take into consideration, is the type and style of the image. Now once you are finished with the cutout, I'm just heading down the arm now. Brilliant, so once you're finished with the cutout, what you want to do is head over to where you started. So that's my icon down here. And all we need to do is just click and a little circle will appear, and that is where we've completed the selection. So if we zoom all the way out, as you can see, we have a finished selection. And if you've used a pen tool like I have, you should end up with a selection that looks similar to this. Brilliant. So what we want to do now is we want to create a selection in the image. So we want to head over to our paths tool and we want to go to our work path, So you can see our work path here, which is the path that we've got selected currently. All we need to do is double click on that thumbnail. Once you've double clicked on the thumbnail, as you can see, a panel opens, and this is where we can name and save the path. So I'm just going to name it as default name path 2, and all we have to do is press OK, and what that will do is that will automatically save the path for us. So what we need to do now is to create a selection from the path. So if we hold down Command on our keyboard, go ahead over to path 2 and then click, and as that happens, as you can see, a selection appears and the marching ants will appear on the screen. So what we need to do now is to create a very slight feather to this effect to make it look a little bit more realistic when we create the stroke. So what we want to do is go up to the top section here, we want to click select, and we want to go down all the way to modify, and there are a few options here, but the one we want to choose is feather. So if we click that, and we want to create a very slight feather radius of between 1 and 5 pixels depending on your image, but for this particular image I find 2 pixels works perfectly. So what we're going to do is just press OK, and what that's done is added an ever so slight feather to this particular selection. So what we want to do now is head over to our layers panel, and as you can see we've just still got the background layer applied to this selection. So what we need to do is duplicate the layer, but only the selection area, and the way we can do this is by pressing Command J, and that will duplicate the layer but just the selection section of that layer. So if we press Command J on our keyboard, as you can see, if I turn the background off, we have created this great selection here, and that is exactly what we're after. So if we turn that background layer on, what we want to do is just name this layer. I'm going to name it line. Brilliant. So once we've done that, what we need to do is create the stroke. Now there's a variety of ways of creating the stroke, but the most customizable way I find is using your layer adjustments. So what we want to do is just double click up here, and the layer stylize box pops up, which is this little box here. And as you can see, if we head down all of these styles, the one we want to do, or the one we want to select, is stroke. So if we click stroke, and if I just reset that to default, what it will do is it will create a stroke around the selection that we've just made. So what we want to do is we want to choose the color. Now I've called this particular effect a white outline, but don't just depend it's just on white. You can add it to any color of your choice, but today I'm just going to be selecting white, but you can choose any color. So for instance, we can choose the red, we can choose black, we can choose any color of your choice, and as you can see, the little thumbnail here will appear in our preview box where you can see the color and how it's working. Now, as you can see, it's created this effect, but it's not very strong at the moment, so we want to make sure our opacity is turned all the way up to 100%, our position is turned from inside to outside, and then all we need to do is just increase the size of the stroke. Now I find around 30 to 40 pixels for this image works really nicely. So if we select that, and again guys, we can always change the color, you can change it to a pattern, you can change it to a gradient, but for this particular effect I'm just going to keep it on white, and all we need to do is press OK. Lovely, so this effect is now made. But what we want to do is we want to add it to a thumbnail. So what I'm going to do is just save this, and I'm going to head over to my InDesign. Now this is where I create my thumbnails. So if I just delete that, we have got this photo already placed. But what I want is to have the stroke over the edge with the photo. So what we want to do is head over to our links panel, and as you can see, we've got our photo here. Now we just need to update our photo. So we've updated it there. What we want to do is duplicate this layer over our coloured layer here. So if we click on that layer, we press Command C and then Shift Alt Command V. What that will do is that will paste our image in front. Now all we need to do is just select that layer. Now because InDesign is the same as Adobe, very similar to Photoshop, they work well with each other. So all we need to do is right click on that layer, so make sure we've got our photo layer selected, right click on that, and we want to go down to Object Layer Options. Now when we pop up with that, as you can see, the layers that we've made in Photoshop are duplicated into InDesign. So all we need to do is we've got our background layer here and we've got our line layer. So we only want a line layer to be displayed over the coloured layer. So all we need to do is press Outline and we just need to remove our background and press OK. And as you can see, the layer, if I move it around, is been duplicated, but only the layer that has the line on it. So if we zoom out, there we go, guys. So that is how I've created the thumbnail. And here is how, if I go back to Photoshop, here is how I created the line effect. And there we go, guys. So I hope that helps on how to create a white outline effect for YouTube thumbnails and editorial designs in InDesign 2020. Brilliant, and there we go, guys. So that is how you can create this white outline stroke effect in Photoshop 2020, and then apply it to your YouTube thumbnails and editorial designs. If you want to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, it really does help my channel grow. Also, if you want to hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my future content. Also guys, if you want to support the channel and get some really cool t-shirt and hoodie designs, head down to the link in the description. And you can click on my Teespring store, which I have a bunch of t-shirts, hoodie designs and a few other things. And I update that every single week. But until next time guys, keep creating.